Alright, today we're diving into something special, painting a Sultan for my Dunes of Qarath army. This Medbury miniature sculpt could easily fit both historical and fantasy settings. For me though, this guy's going to be a hero in my next campaign with the Dunes of Qarath. Even though it's a character model, it's still 28 millimeters, so I'm giving myself about 40 minutes to an hour to paint him. Quick, efficient, but with enough detail to stand out on the table. Let's kick things off with a brown primer covering the whole model. From there, I'm doing what I only recently found out is called Slapchop. I've been doing it naturally for over 20 years without knowing the term. We start with a generous slap chop of mummy robes across most of the model, making sure to go over the entire mini and add a second layer on the cape to keep it nice and bright. A little nostalgia here, this technique, slap chop, reminded me of my old Warhammer days during 8th edition. Back then, I used to mix Citadel paints to mimic what's now contrast, thinning them down just right to get the effect. Other players were always asking me for this secret blend. It was such a practical way to speed paint hordes, and it's funny to see how this has come full circle with Slapchop. First, I'll apply lava orange to the jacket. I use a thin, controlled layer to avoid overwhelming the Slapchop base. This color gives the jacket a vibrant, desert-inspired warmth, reflecting the sun-soaked tones of the Carathian dunes. I'll go section by section, ensuring each fold of fabric gets even coverage while still letting the underlying highlight show through. For the color scheme, I originally got into painting this army about 4 years ago, and back then, I started jotting down all my color schemes in a notebook. It's been a lifesaver to keep everything consistent across the years. Next up is the skin, where I'll use a diluted barbarian flesh. This natural tone is perfect for the Sultan's complexion, adding warmth and a touch of realism. I'll carefully apply it to the face, making sure to avoid pooling in the recesses. The thin consistency allows me to build up the color gradually, emphasizing the sculpt's details like cheekbones and hands. For the leather elements like the beard, belt, and armor trims, I'll use oak brown, thin down. I'll take my time to trace the edges of the beard and leather straps, bringing out the texture without overpowering the underlying colors. Now, I'll move to the chainmail and bring it to life with a dry brush of plate mail metal. I'm being deliberate here, brushing lightly over the raised areas to create a worn, reflective effect while leaving the shadows dark for contrast. It's always satisfying to see the metallic shimmer catch the light, especially against the desert-themed backdrop. Greedy gold adds a pop of detail to the sword's guard, scabbard, helmet, armor, and those elegant belt and cape trims. For the turban and belt center, dragon red comes in thinned down to make the slap chop effect pop. Deep blue, also thinned, is for the clothing, giving it a rich desert look. On the helmet's feathers, I'll start with phoenix flames, followed by a second layer for intensity. The gem on the helmet gets hydra turquoise for a vibrant glow. I'll start by applying a very diluted layer of skeleton bone all over the cape. This subtle base creates a soft, warm tone that blends beautifully with the slap chop highlights and sets the stage for the next layers. Next, I'll add a second coat of phoenix flames to the feathers on the helmet. This step intensifies the color, making the plumage pop with fiery vibrance against the muted base tones. Now, I'll complete the scabbard and the lower parts of the feathers using matte black. This darker shade creates contrast, especially at the bottom of the feathers where the transition from phoenix flames will stand out. For the feather ridges, I'll go over them with mummy robes. This light touch brings out the delicate lines and makes the plumage look more detailed and textured. I'll then dry brush demonic yellow across the feathers on the helmet. This step brings a sunlit glow to the plumage, enhancing the fiery effect of the phoenix flames while adding depth and variation. Back to the cape, I'll give it a dry brush of mummy robes. This will bring back highlights and make the texture stand out, adding a final touch of light to the flowing fabric. For the chainmail, I'll apply a layer of dark tone wash. This deep wash will settle into the recesses, enhancing the metallic effect and making the chainmail appear more weathered and realistic. On the parts painted with greedy gold and oak brown, I'll apply a strong tone wash. This step adds shadows and depth to the gold details and the leather areas, giving them a more aged and battle-worn look. Red tone wash goes on the jacket and the turban. This subtle wash deepens the red shades while adding vibrancy, enhancing the rich desert tones. Flesh wash will be used on the skin. It brings warmth and natural shadowing to the face and hands, highlighting the sculpt's features and giving them a lifelike appearance. Finally, I'll add a last dry brush of mummy robes over the cape. This final highlight brightens the high points and completes the look, making the cape stand out with subtle contrast and a touch of elegance. I'll wrap this up with a simple base, brown paint mixed with wood glue and yellow sand. So, there you have it. A quick but detailed paint job to bring a desert sultan to life, ready to lead my troops into battle. It'll work perfectly for my Dunes of Qarath campaign, where the kingdom stands between its rich past and an uncertain future under Saladorn's iron rule. The Dunes are a land of scorching sands, rebellious clans, and shifting alliances, and this sultan is going to be right in the middle of it. I've always loved this army because it's built around speed and agility rather than heavy armor, which makes it perfect for countering brute force factions. Even though I'm still working on the full rules system, my ultimate goal is to create a narrative mode for solo play, where you follow your character through adventures, meet key figures from the lore, fight battles, and grow your character's profile and skills. Eventually, your avatar would even be playable in your main army, with new quests unlocking based on victories. Imagine downloading the STL of your personalized hero with a unique face. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've got so many more painting projects and lore videos coming, so stick around.